I think the tape is doing its job.
Very good.
Wow.
This is gonna blow away. Yeah, we gotta reinforce it.
Yeah. We can try to tape it a little bit better. Maybe like tape it to the asphalt. Yeah. Okay. There it is. There's the tape.
Stupid wind. It's always something.
The only thing I have left.
Hey guys, just put it over the table. Hey, Diego, do you mind holding this one here to fill over again? Sorry, on the side over here. We're gonna start here. Well, I might put it on the table now because we found a racist information complaint, and it said that in November of 2021, Patricia Cosby said that this guy is leaving something. Yeah, basically that the new owners, they didn't say new owners, they said up for investors or something like that.
I know it's
But they
279.
didn't purchase the property until December of 2021. So I just wonder if there were already conversations going on or something, because the closing is December of 2021. No. Yeah, that was a Oh,
It never disappeared. I mean, I'll find it.
They tried to tell the girl that no one had a job, and then there was some backslash, and then they ended up making her but she knows a lot about it.
Because they, so what they were doing is they're coming in and they have a package of shit that they do, and then the other try to flip it. And so they cut costs, increase rent, and there's probably a bunch of other shit with it too. And like doing stuff for pictures, like the way that they present stuff, I bet that that's part of it. That's what it was. And that was did you work on
I used to work at Constantly Market for a long time, but I would help them with takeovers. And so when I finally was getting ready to find the next company I wanted to be at, this was just kind of like my little downtime. So I wasn't expecting to stay with Patricia was their like lead on that takeover, and so she kind of got me if I would be able to stay with them. I stayed there for like another month, and that property was even worse. That was more so like it's false at that time. I just don't have the trust that after about a month and a half, that's when I had left. She was like,
it's still the same way.
Well, Las Vegas has a bar.
Ryan? Ryan,
Do you want us to stop holding this?
make sure the thing is closed because it's like flapping.
You don't want them to hold this?
If somebody to volunteer to just kind of hold that and make sure
Somebody
it
just hold this right here.
doesn't blow away.
Fly away. No, almost it. Yeah, the thing
Hey, we're waiting for one more person, and we'll get started. Okay.
Thank you.
The person that we're waiting for is in the parking lot.
And then that way they can pan over. Just like, I would just say, yeah, turn it out.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, right here,
There you go.
and then turn it.
We're just waiting for a videographer to get started.
Better? Hope so.
Did you want that? Okay. As soon as we get the videographer here, I'll pull him in a little closer, and then signal y'all to get started. Okay.
What's his ETA?
He's in the parking lot. He's just trying to get him up here. So you're. He's sitting up right there.
All right, everyone, we're about a minute from starting. As soon as the speakers start, I mean, if you could come up just and gather just right behind them. Thank you all for being here. Everybody good?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining us on this very windy off and on windy day. My name is Attorney Ken Thaxton. I'm with the law firm Dean Thaxton. We're based in Cordele, Georgia, and Sandy Springs, Georgia. We really just wanted to give an opportunity for the people whose lives have been drastically impacted, to say the least, by the fire which resulted in what you see behind us last weekend. I lived in Atlanta for almost 20 years. I have a lot of friends here. Last weekend, I learned of this fire by seeing friends and acquaintances posts on social media, basically detailing that they were watching everything that they owned in the world burn up, as they watched it in real time. And so it was people in my own life, friends and acquaintances, that pretty quickly started reaching out to me, knowing that I was an attorney, to ask me questions. And so that's how myself and my partner Doug Dean got involved with this. As is often the case with these tragic situations, the resolution that people need is long-suffering in coming. So we wanted to give an opportunity sooner than later for the people who, wanted to gather in community and come out and be heard and seen to do that. And that's what this is about this morning. We're going to have a few of the residents who were impacted directly speak, and then Doug Dean from our firm is going to speak about some facts as we know it, or as we believe it as this moment. And then we're going to take some questions if anyone has questions. So first we'll have one of the residents come up, Ms. Shania Dessen, and tell you her perspective.
Thank you. I have been a resident here at Reserve at LaVista Walk for about 3 years. Since the time I got here, things have been going downhill. My heart goes out to every single resident. Whether you are in building 1 or building 2, it is a loss for everybody. It is not only a loss for the residents, but it is also a loss for the community. There are so many people in this community who service the greater Atlanta community. Emory is right down the street, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, Piedmont, Grady. We have several staff members, even from APD and the fire department, who live in this complex. It is not only just the residents who are affected. All of Atlanta is affected, because the people who service you, they dealt with something that was absolutely tragic. We stood out here Friday night. I got out here at 10:30 and was out here till about 2 a.m. and watched this building go completely all the way down. From the 4th floor, collapsed right into the 3rd floor, and we watched that. We watched the building fall apart that we've called home for several years right before our faces. And that is so tragic. There are people who have lost everything that they own, whether it be important documents, loved pictures, ashes of loved ones. There are things that are irreplaceable that money cannot replace, and it is truly heartbreaking. And once again, my heart goes out to everyone. I would also like to mention, a month ago, right over here, you could see a review that I left on the on Google for Reserve at LaVista Walk, letting them know that we are at risk of what is to come, which was a fire because of what is listed in the review. I urge people to take a look at your leases, take a look at your property management companies, and do your due diligence so that you don't become a victim of this thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Shania. Now we'll hear from resident Alyssa Green.
Hi. Good morning, everybody. My name is Alyssa Green. I was a resident at the Reserve at LaVista Walk. We moved in May, about 5 months ago. Excuse me. So last Friday, I got a call from my boyfriend. I got a FaceTime, and I opened it and saw our home and all of our belongings burning down. We got out with our backpacks, with our cats, and with our cars, and that's it. We lost everything. And this should never happen to anyone. This should never happen to residents who paid good money and who think they are protected in their own home. this shouldn't have happened to us, and we should have been protected better from this. I lost every art piece that I have done since I was 12 years old. I lost my family's recipes that they've been passed down for almost 100 years. I lost every stuffed animal I've had since elementary school. So many people in this tragedy have had every single part of their life be taken from them, and this would never, ever should have happened. But what I can tell you right now is the community is coming together, and we are being as strong as we can, because this is affecting every single one of us, and it's bringing us together as a family, and we are going to do everything that we can to survive this together. And I just hope that we can get some justice from this terrible, terrible situation that never should have happened. Thank you.
Thank you, Alyssa. Now we'll hear from resident Alexander Lands.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I was not only a resident here for about the last 2 years, but I also worked for the property for about 8 months. I do have firsthand knowledge of directly how negligent the owners were in the regard of the treatment of this building. It was disgusting. Not only for me have I lost, months of employment with them, where I went home every day suffering for what I had to watch us do to residents, but during my tenure here, I had to go through black mold in my bathroom. I had to go through, a plethora of things that all of us shared, in addition to now having to watch all of my belongings burn. For me, what we're doing here with Doug and Ken is more personal than anything that has to do with my employment. It is more personal than anything that I have lost personally, monetarily. This is me knowing that we're doing the right thing, standing up to one of many predatory landlords in Atlanta who think that they're going to move into town and raise rates, not take care of the buildings, and neglect us not only as business people but as tenants. If I had to sacrifice everything in my life for us to make a difference in this regard, then I am more than happy to have paid the price so that we can make a difference here. And where they really messed up is, like Alyssa said, from the wreckage of what you've done to us, we have been able to come together as a community, and we have love and support for each other, and that's just, it's left us beyond words. So I just appreciate everybody that's volunteered to help us, and those of us who have made a family out of what we've had here. Thank you. That's it.
Now we'll hear from my law partner, Doug Dean, about some of the facts as we understand them.
Hey everybody, my name is Doug Dean. I'm at the law firm of Dean Thaxton. We have done some investigations, and what we believe right now is that this property was purchased in December of 2021 for $90 million by some investors based in New Jersey. The owner since that time has been these LHNH properties. It's listed on the lien that we'll talk about in just a second, but it's these three different entities, and then Silver Point, and it is another entity called Avinium. So they took over in December of 2021, and then they learned pretty quickly that there were issues with the fire suppression system. There was a car that crashed into the building. After that, there was flooding on the second and third floors, and then since that time, they've had issues with the wiring. And then they, in June of 2022, 2 control valves were diagnosed as being broken, and they were advised at that time that that means that the pressure in the system is not going to be guaranteed, and it's not necessarily going to work. They also knew that there were corroded sprinkler heads, and there were other issues. After that diagnosis in June of 2022, they knew that they were out of code, and they did not pay the vendor, and so that is what this lien is here. So they knew that they had issues, and this vendor did not come back because they were not paid. And we also had a freeze here in December of 2022, and that led to flooding again. and there were numerous issues with the pull down boxes and things of that nature. This totally could have been prevented. There was no reason that people should have been allowed on the roof. The apartment knew that people were going up there, children were going up there, and so what we're looking to do is in the next couple of days file a class action lawsuit on behalf of all of these people behind me, and we intend to hold these people accountable. So thank y'all.
And so that concludes the planned portion of this press conference. To the extent there's any questions, we would be happy to take those now.
Right now we're looking at around 4 or 5 class representatives that will be named. There were 284 units. The ones in Building 1 were a total loss. The ones in Building 2 are, the building is not structurally sound. But there are 284 units. Right now we don't know the number of residents. We believe it to be around 400 to 500. But that's what we know right now. No, not in the initial complaint. That's not our plan, and that's because it's very difficult to figure out all of the personal property that's in here. So you're dealing with 284 units and people that have just gone through a lot, and then they're going to have to put together inventories. So we're looking at ways to move through that quickly, but we don't have a number that we're putting in the complaint. Everyone who spoke, and there's several others.
As the plaintiffs.
Sorry, as the defendants.
Yeah, those were the plaintiffs. The defendants.
Oh yeah, so the defendants are LHNH LaVista LLC, LHNH LaVista TIC TIC in the Roman numeral 2, LHNH LaVista TIC 3, which is also a Roman numeral, and then there is Avenium Group LLC, which is not registered in Georgia. It's only registered in New Jersey. And then there's Silver Point Management Group, and the ownership has remained the same since December of 2021. But the company, it was Silver Point for quite a while, and then it just recently, as my understanding, has become Avenium. But all of those will be defendants.
So fire officials earlier had said that they had said the reason the fire suppression didn't work is because the fire started on the roof and went down. I heard you guys mention the problem with the fire suppression system, but does that information from the fire department affect your claims about the fire suppression system?
No, and we are looking into the fire code on whether or not there should have been a fire suppression system under the code. Now, these particular owners knew that fireworks were happening up here. It's my understanding that was not the first time, and they knew that there was access to the roof. There were children up there, and they did not block the access, and they easily could have. So, I think that's a red herring. I have not seen that. Yeah, I would like to see a copy of that.
Do you plan on suing the two defendants?
No.
Why not?
But the reason for that is this was absolutely foreseeable by the people that purchased this. And so this is something that could have been prevented by them. The fire could have started from all different kinds of sources. And so we're seeking to hold these people responsible because they're out-of-state investors that apparently don't care about Georgians. And that's the issue. There's actually, they own another apartment complex, is our understanding. We're still researching this. But LHNH Alexander LLC, which is Alexander on the district, we have been looking at Google reviews, talking to former employees, and they're saying that there are very similar issues there as there are here. So that's something that we're still looking into. But that is our biggest concern. Not people shouldn't be setting off fireworks, but this is something that these people are responsible for all of these lives and everybody at all the properties that they own. So that is what we seek to hold them responsible for.
But if they burn down the building, shouldn't they have skin in the game to be forced to make restitution?
Restitution is a criminal issue, and I think that'll be handled by the prosecutors.
Do not donate to that GoFundMe.
What's that?
I think
They haven't even sent any type of like email saying, hey, something simple. They haven't even sent anything in a sense of like just a complimentary email saying, hey, we set up a GoFundMe. This is for y'all. This place residents. None of that. Period. Just something simple. It could be a lie. They don't even have they have the audacity not even do the lie.
And I think that the best
Can't even talk to them.
we haven't even got our rent money back.
the best way to donate to the people that are affected by this is the personal GoFundMes that these individuals have set up for themselves. Any group kind of GoFundMe, I would advise you to not donate to it. There are individual GoFundMes that are set up and posted on several news links on social media that you can find for specific individuals who have gone through this. But please stay away from the group GoFundMes. Thank you.
We haven't received any rent back, any prorated rent back. We just paid rent for the, we don't know, haven't received any money back.
Some have received.
Essentially, there's been no communication about any sort of reimbursement that would be taking place for our rent, even though it should be as a whole for November or any sort of prorate thereof. We've been trying to get in contact with the office, and it's been minimal. People.
About December rent.
Yeah, I mean, I do have one of the other residents who did prepay for December rent that they said that eventually they will get that back, but I mean, there's just been no sort of proactivity, remorse, no communication other than the group fitness scheduled emails that we keep getting that are actually quite comical. But on their part, we've all been out there talking to them. They have told us that they're too emotionally checked out to respond to us. We have this on video as well. That there's just been very little to no remorse from their team. They don't feel that they're responsible. And
not a courtesy email. Not no, like I said before, not no lie email. Just common courtesy.
Yeah, just telling us when the building 2 people will be able to access their apartments, which is weeks out from now. Apartments that have already been looted several times over in the last couple of weeks.
Lack of security.
Lack of security. I mean, it's you almost have to loot your own things back. That's how sad it's gotten. So. We just aren't having it from them, and this is another reason for that.
What about the presumption that y'all had renters insurance, but you come to find out they tell you did not need about personal insurance, but you're finding out that insurance that y'all were paying was for building. Why were you paying building insurance?
So this is somewhat of a new policy that's kind of making its way around several buildings in Atlanta. This is not necessarily something that's uncommon. The problem with why this was created was that people will, and this isn't to the exact fault of the building, but people will move into a building as they're required to have renter's insurance and then kind of cancel it once they move in. So what building owners throughout Atlanta are doing now is they are requiring a building liability insurance where their belongings are covered and it's part of your monthly fees, but essentially your leasing agent should be letting people know when they move in that your belongings are not covered. You can choose to have an additional policy for your belongings, but at the end of the day, our asset is going to be covered.
And we also, I was speaking to a resident earlier who was paying the $15 to the building, did not understand that his stuff wasn't covered, right? They were like, well, you don't have to, if you can pay us and not have renter's insurance.
And that was the thing that was promoted.
Yeah.
But their stuff wasn't covered, so there was just confusion around that. I'm sure they'll point to arguments, but
to circle back really quickly to the fire suppression system that was being discussed previously, I do have firsthand knowledge where they may be trying to make it seem like they're not responsible for this. I was on staff, as were several others who we've been in contact with, where the owners directly told us, we're not going to pay to have what needs to be done, just something to the effect along the lines of make it look presentable.
Right.
So, you know, there were sprinklers that were defective throughout the property. They went through and cut them out, tried to repaint them. There were alarms that went off constantly because of this. So, in my understanding, they probably cut them off recently, or somewhat recently, once they didn't want to have to deal with the alarms constantly being set off.
They're trying-
Yeah. So
When you say recently,
yeah, and additionally, yes, we had many troubles, even in the time that I was there, where vendors would refuse to come back because they couldn't get paid. And I'm sure that only got worse as time went on.
Can you tell me on the record what your first and your last name and spell that for me, and then also tell me how long you've been separated from the company?
My first name is Alexander, Alexander. Last name is Lanz, Lanz. I have been apart from them, I believe, as of July of 2022. I started there end of December, January 1st, 2021. Or like right as they took over. I had actually been with their transition when they took over Alexander at the district because I was leaving Lincoln. And they asked me to come on with their team. I saw that Alexander wasn't going well already a month in, and they said they were taking this over, and on the outside it looked kind of like a nice building, so I was like, all right, well, I'll take that up. When we got here, I will say that there were issues from Graystar that were misrepresented, and that we came into a lot of delinquency and a lot of issues that hadn't been held. That's not an excuse. 2 years later, you had enough time and knowledge to resolve this, and they just chose not to. But yeah, since then, not much has changed. The office staff has tried to make small improvements, which I applaud them for, actually. But the owners, I had repeated conversations with the owners, Naki Rubin, Yakov Stein, David Hetkoff, people who addressed our staff to let us know that those sorts of things weren't a priority. You know what I mean? We were in the middle, even still, of them renovating the interiors of the units, but they weren't taking care of the main problems, the gate being broken, the break-ins, like the AC. I watched people, go, the rats. I watched people go 8 weeks in 90-degree weather without AC when I was here. Like, people were in my face crying constantly. Like, it was disgusting. And the only reason I continued to live here was because I had a personal change in my life, and I was riding out, the rest of my tenure here. So, but these people, they need to be held accountable, more so than anything. And if I never see a cent of this lawsuit money, I will, if they are out of Georgia and done as a management company, I will rest easy.
I got a question for
Just one additional thing. You mentioned about the district Alexander property. As a matter of public record, you will find a similar lien for that property as well.
I got a question for the attorney. I imagine that a damage like this to a structure is unprecedented. What is the next step for you guys? Outside of the obvious, what's the likelihood that these guys will actually take over?
So we're going to file suit. The current plan is to file suit in the Northern District in federal court, file a class action against them, and we have already sent them a request for different kinds of information, insurance information. We've requested that they reserve or preserve evidence. We're a little bit suspicious about whether or not they're going to be honest about all the documents that they have. But we've not heard back from them yet. Once we file suit, then we will likely be in contact with an attorney before long.
Do you think the city holds any culpability? Because we're hearing about inspections, and that you would think if the problems are that extensive, city inspectors, right, should have caught that. Does the city hold any culpability?
That is something that we're still looking into. I think there are questions that have been asked about that. And there are issues about equipment and the ability of fire trucks to get over here, but that's something that we're just analyzing as the looking at the big picture.
We appreciate the first responders. They were also residents here.
Yes, they were.
what was the question? Repeat the question.
So I think the question is, will the looting be addressed in the lawsuit? Yes, there will be.
Nuisance.
Yes, yeah, and it's our contention that the operation of this building has been a nuisance, and so that is we're including claims for negligence and nuisance.
Well, thank you all.
All right.
Well, if there are no further questions, that concludes the press conference. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, no, all these is facts, man. It's literature, documentation. Yo, we need to push. Whatever, hope y'all can do on y'all ends. We need it, for real.
So just wanted to get some clarifying information. So this property, this property